So, I think we've all heard of something called seasonal affect disorder or seasonal depression or whatever it is. This is something that I've always heard people talk about. And to be honest, I've never really experienced it, at least not quite in the way that people present it. So, for those of you who don't know, seasonal affect disorder is basically, or seasonal depression or whatever it's called, it's basically this thing where during the winter months you get very depressed because there's not enough sunlight, the weather's colder, you're spending less time outside, you're doing less often. There are all a whole host of reasons as to why you could get it. And, I'm not really an expert, I don't really know, but I've always heard people talk about it. And, we're getting to spring, summer now. People are sort of saying that their seasonal depression is over. Like, they're able to enjoy the summer months, they're in a better mood, whatever. This is great. But it's funny because this time of year where it starts to get sunny, I actually sometimes notice the opposite happen, where I'm perfectly fine in the winter months, but when it starts getting sunny, it's a really weird thing. But I actually slightly get a bit down, and I wouldn't call it depressed. I'm not depressed or anything, but I definitely notice there is a bit of a change in my mood when it's sunny. And I really looked into this, like, why would this be? And one thing that I thought was maybe it was to do with not getting enough sunlight, because often when I observed that I was getting this feeling when it was sunny outside, I just need to get some sunlight, and so I go outside and just sit in the sun for a bit. But it's strange because it's not like during winter I needed that sunlight. It was like when it was sunny I suddenly sort of needed it, if that makes sense. And I often found that sitting in the sun or not, it didn't really make any difference. Like, obviously it's good for you to get sunlight, it has lots of benefits, but it didn't really change this kind of weird feeling that I was getting when the weather was nice and I was kind of at home, not doing anything. And what I've realised now, so looking back at memories, is it's not as much of it is to do with like the sort of things like getting sunlight, being outside. It's more to do with like what you're doing with the day and the kind of relationships that you have, and what you're doing with people. It's more like your kind of activities, not in like a sort of esoteric health sense, but just like, are you hanging out with friends? Are you, I don't know, doing something nice with friends? Well, basically what I realised it boiled down to is I only got this kind of negative feeling of like feeling down when it's sunny when I wasn't hanging out with other people. And I remember like when I was younger, when I was in school, I would sometimes just spend days pretty much inside with friends playing on like the Xbox, and it would be sunny outside, and we'd be cramped in, we'd be inside with all the lights off looking at a screen, but I'd be in very much higher spirits, and I think that's because I was with friends and I was doing something sociable. And my conclusion, and I've got no evidence to back this up apart from personal experience, but I think my conclusion is that when you spend time when it's sunny outside, that it kind of signals something to your brain to go say, it's good weather, go out and have fun with your friends, basically. And you know, I might be 23 now. You know, I'm not a child anymore, but the same thing is happening to me. I still have to have fun with my friends. And this opens a lot more sort of avenues for me to think about. I mean, one thing I've been thinking a lot about with regards to my self-improvement is my relationships with people and my friendships. And I think there's a lot to explore there. I think a lot of my friendships, I am still a little bit too willing just to go along with people. A little bit too not really carving out a social life on my own terms. I don't think I've really given myself the skills to carve a social life out on my own terms. And so as a result, I do tend to be quite independent, because that's the only way I can get any sort of self-determination. And one thing I want to do over the next year is improve my ability to set boundaries for myself in social situations. So I don't really find I'm in a position where I find that I'm not socialising because it feels fun and natural. So that's basically what I think it boils down to, is just there's something about it being nice weather and not spending time with friends. That is what affects my mood. So thanks for watching, guys. Maybe there's something you can take away from this.